Hello, my name is Steve Heedline. I work for Lepo Group, Bobcat of Worcester. And what I'd like to do today is just do a walk around on a T5 or T650 Bobcat. I notice there's a lot of misinformation out there, guys doing reviews and comparisons. And I just wanted to take a couple minutes and show you what separates us from everybody else. So everybody builds a track loader today, and they all have similar componentry, meaning you have a frame, you have a boom, you got tracks, engine, pumps, drive motors. How manufacturers put all that stuff together and the components they choose is what separates them from one to the other. So what we're going to do is just walk around, pick that stuff apart, and show you why Bobcat is the best track loader out there. So let's start with our boom. Our boom is a box channel. It's the strongest vertical boom in the industry. And if you can look straight down the boom here, you can see that all our pins are all in a direct line on top of each other. And what that does for us is that is the strongest design for the least amount of deflection in the industry, and we have that patented. So everybody else has to take a pin and stagger it out here. Some of them put it inboard over there, and they have to stagger their pins to get away from our patent so they don't infringe. And what happens is it makes the boom weak, so you get what's called deflection. It's actually so bad on some machines you'll see wear strips on the side of the cab for when the boom is going to hit it. You'll never see a wear strip on a Bobcat. Awesome boom, just very strong. So as we get into our cab, Bobcat's cab is really, really nice. I don't know if you can get a picture in there a little bit, but this machine is joystick equipped, cab heat air. This is our A71 package. But if you notice down here, like we have a bucket step. If we had a bucket on here, this step, you have a real low entryway. It's really easy to get into. But the big thing is our seal. Our rubber seal here is a three-sided seal, and it creates a vacuum in here. Like when I shut this door, you can watch this window. You see how that puffs out? We actually develop 3 to 4 pounds of pressure inside our cab. We're the only ones that do that. Others claim they have a pressurized cab, but very few do. So that keeps all your dust out. If you're using a Bobcat landscape rig, you're in dirty, dusty conditions, all that stuff stays out. So, real neat design. As we walk over here towards our tracks, often the most, how do I want to say this, overlooked part of a track loader is the drive motor itself. Before I get to that, though, I want to point out our idler up here. It's a dual flange idler, and that rides real smooth. A lot of guys have a link up here. I won't mention Caterpillar's name, but they have a link up here where this idler compresses and releases, and it's meant to give you a nicer ride. But what happens is it actually affects your grading ability. It's very difficult to grade because as you cut your bucket in, that link releases your idler and it ends up bouncing. You end up grading in waves. It's very difficult to grade that way. So we do use a rigid idler. It allows us to grade perfectly flat. It's an awesome setup. We no longer have the angled undercarriage. This is a great design. We don't have any problems cleaning out our mud. We're perfectly fine. This is where it's at. This is extremely important. Everybody else uses planetaries. Planetaries spin at 5,000 RPM. Planetaries are slow. Planetaries give you a low travel speed of like maybe 4.5 mile an hour, a high travel speed of maybe 7 mile an hour. But running at 5,000 RPM, they develop an extreme amount of heat. That heat breaks down your oil that's meant to, lubricate your bearings. And when the ingredients break down, your planetaries and your bearings are susceptible to failure. What Bobcat does is really neat. We use a direct drive motor. We spin at 300 RPM. We don't develop all that heat. So our oil maintains its lubricity because it doesn't get hot. We constantly see much longer drive motor life because we run cool. Performance-wise, it's awesome. Our low speed is 5.5 mile an hour. Our high speed is 10.5 mile an hour. So when you're doing cycle times, when you're running gravel back to the septic tank install, we're faster. We run cooler. Our hydraulic oil stays cooler. All real good stuff on how we do this. So a lot of the other guys take air in from the sides of the machine. It's dirty air, and they pass it over a hot engine, and then they exhaust it or push it out the side or out the back. Everybody else has radiators. Not everybody. I mean, some of them put them up here like we do, but a lot of guys have radiators right here. So, three things wrong with that. They're taking dirty air from the sides of the machine, passing it over a hot engine, and trying to push it through the radiator. Radiators are more efficient when you pull air through them. So what we do is we take clean, cool air from above, we pull it down through our radiator. It's sort of hard to see, but we take hot engine air and we suck it up out of the engine compartment and we exhaust it all out the sides. We run about 30% cooler than a pusher fan setup. It's really pretty neat. Plus, our tailgate, it's protected. If you're working in the woods or branches and stuff, everybody else has their tailgates louvered, and a branch can ruin a $800 radiator. So we're very well protected. This is good stuff right here. Let's talk about Tier 4 emissions for a minute. Tier 4 emissions is everybody has to meet Tier 4 emissions. Everybody else took 40-year-old engine architecture and added a Bpf filter, added DEF fluid to meet Tier 4 emissions. They took a dirty design and cleaned it up with Band-Aids. So it's still an engine that produces black smoke. What we're trying to clean up is the black smoke. Black smoke is unburnt fuel. So they're cleaning it up with a Bpf filter and DEF fluid. I'll go into a little bit more detail on how a Bpf system works. So when your engine's running and producing that black smoke, you have a diesel particulate filter that collects all that smoke. And when it gets clogged, it tells the computer, hey, I'm full, I need cleaned. The computer sends raw fuel down the exhaust stroke to superheat that filter to 1300 degrees. It is such a volatile procedure. They pull 20% of your timing, 20% of your boost. You're running at 80%, and you're burning fuel on combustion, and you're burning fuel on exhaust for 20-30 minutes to clean that filter. It's a very inefficient design, and those filters, the more they go into regeneration, the less they perform. They sort of cake up, they sort of coke up. So in about 3,000-4,000 hours, you're having to buy a $5,000 filter. What Bobcat chose to do is we redesigned or designed an engine to meet Tier 4 emissions without any of that. Our head design is such a good design. We we have such a total burn of the air fuel mixture, we do not create any unburnt fuel that needs cleaned up by Bpf filter. So it's really a neat design. You're only burning fuel in combustion. You're not burning it on exhaust as well. We're not running at 80% power. We're running at 100% power all the time. It's awesome. This engine's so smart, as it does wear like maybe 4,000 or 5,000 hours. It actually can know when the rings are, wearing a little bit, and it increases cylinder pressure to give you 100% power for the life of the machine. It's really a neat design. Now, a testament to how clean we run. You ever change the oil on a diesel and you pull the dipstick out, 5 minutes later it's totally black? A testament to how clean we run. Look at that oil. It's beautiful. I've never seen diesel oil like this. But basically, this is how clean we run. This is how tight this engine is. It's precision built